welcome to Skol Chat number 3. Dan, Joe, John, and Tom. This evening we're going to discuss the salary cap. Then we're going to move on to undrafted free agents signed this year and their earnings. Then we'll talk who we think will make the roster. And then we'll go over undrafted free agents from previous years that are still on the roster. Highlight the best undrafted free agents from the previous years. And Dano, you go ahead and start out the undrafted free agents.
Okay. First one on the list that I have, Tyler Batty. Just to let you know, he's got a guarantee of $234,000. And I got Ben, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Sack.
Okay. Well, thank you, Joe, for that. Anyways, it's guaranteed. It's also $234,000. What I got here. Yeah. Chaz. What? Cambus? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think if you want to get fancy, you can say Chambly, but I think Chambliss is probably right.
Okay. Now his guarantee, it's only $200,000 only. I wish I had that kind of money in my pocket. Anyways, and we go on to Set. Is it pronounced Silas or Silas?
Silas
Yeah,
Bolden.
Silas, yep.
According to what I got here, he's guaranteed for $190,000. And then we got you guys can try to pronounce his name. I'm a butcher it and chop it and whatever if I try.
Zemaya Vaughn.
Now he's at $234,000.
I'm
right.
They're paying out here.
Then, all righty, gonna do the next 5.
Well, and I'll start off with Alex Williams, the defensive line from Tennessee State. He's at 0 guaranteed in the year. Then Ben Urasek, tight end from Georgia. He's, from what I have, was 667 guaranteed. Or excuse me, my number is a little bit different than what's on there. So for Ben Urasek,
Yeah, I think we should try to go in order here.
Hey, well, I had the order from Vikings.
Yeah, so I think we should just kind of talk about the free agents and drafted free agents that are actually earning guaranteed money, and we'll skip over the rest that don't have the guarantees. So otherwise, it might take all night.
Yeah, so we were actually going to go over the cap base first.
Yeah, we can go back to that. We can just talk about this, and then we can go back to show the salary cap and then the dead cap space.
Our quarterback from another undrafted free agent this year, Zeke Correll from O-line, Dante Fleming, receiver from Tulane, also signed on free agent. All right, I think that's.
So then we have some other players we're going to take on. Dallas Bolden, the receiver return. Just from looking in his past, he has great receiving record for 267 yards. Has good background in punt returns, 25 yards on average per return. So I have Logan, playing offensive line. He played for Kansas, and he started 11 out of 10 games. Tied for a few sacks allowed. So that's pretty good for us to take on that. Just depends on how they utilize, Then we also have Robert Lewis, receiver, average ran 18 yards, 16 catches for 150 yards. He had 14 touchdowns in his past as far as playing football for last year in just 2020. Be interesting if he's able to get up to speed with the Vikings. And then we also have Keenan Garber, started 17 of 59 games. Cornerback. I don't know if you guys think he'll get utilized with the Vikings or not. What do you guys think?
Possibly.
Well, I think if they gave him some money, that's the ones we're talking about. The ones that have been getting the guaranteed money. So they have some confidence in them and making at least the practice squad.
Yeah. I guess I don't know for Dante Fleming. Did he make the list there?
Yeah,
Is he,
$125,000
see-
guaranteed salary.
All right. Yeah. I mean, he seems to get some good yardage. 11 yards per carry, which could turn out good for us. We definitely could use some gunners.
That Robert Lewis
On
you
my-
were talking about, the receiver. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think be lucky if he makes the practice squad, because see, the way I look at it, the amount of guaranteed money, I think the Vikings are looking at those that are going to make the team one way or the other, because like this Robert Lewis, his guaranteed is only $20,000. So that's why
Really?
think
I
it's
didn't know
gonna-
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not much. What was Miles Price, another receiver that's going to come in for the Vikings and played for Indiana, after Texas, had 38 receptions for 466 12 yards per carry, which that definitely could come in handy for sure, especially first downs.
Signed. Well, I was just going to talk about the two players that they signed from their the rookie minicamp they had. They signed Matt Harmon and
Okay.
Elijah Williams. And so historically, if somebody makes the squad or somebody is signed from those, just like Adam Thielen was signed from the rookie minicamp, CJ Ham was signed from that. Historically, they have almost a better chance of making the squad than the undrafted free agents do, which is kind of crazy to think about because they're not getting any guaranteed money either.
Yeah, they might have better odds of doing that. You never know.
Well, if they've already seen him at the mini camp doing something, the undrafted they didn't get to see before they see him play before they signed him, other than what they're on tape at him on their field, and that's why
Yeah.
they pick the guys up from mini camp. They don't guarantee them anything, but they seen something that they possibly could make the team with.
Who else do you, I guess, project making the team out of the undrafted free agents?
I'm gonna say
Go ahead.
Well, there's Trey Stewart, running back, Jacksonville State, 178 rushing yards at average 6 yards per carry. That's not the best. 25 touchdowns in his back, 18, 24. I think he could utilize really, really well.
His guaranteed is $150,000.
Running
They're
backs
giving him
during
a
the
good.
draft.
Austin Keys, a linebacker out of Auburn. He's got a pretty good guarantee. 20 games, he had 69 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 recovery. I understand they gave him a pretty good guarantee, so he has a decent chance at least to make the practice.
You're reading the book there, Ed?
Yeah, he should.
Well, I'm just going through the list of the cap, and it's easier for me to read on the paper than trying to read the screen. That's what I'm doing.
No, that makes sense. I was giving you a hard time. I heard you shuffling your papers.
I'm doing
What do you think
my
about Tyler-
homework.
What do you think about Tyler Batty?
What do I think of him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think good outside linebacker.
Yeah, that's the thing. Are they going to try to keep him at outside linebacker, or are they going to move him inside to defensive line? I think they're listing him as
I
a
think they're
defensive
going to use them
lineman.
both.
Yeah, and I guess some more flexibility, and that's what they like on the defensive side of the ball. Is more things you can do, the better chance you have. Obviously, practice.
And out of pitching
special
games, because out of pitching games, he had 224 tackles, 33.5 tackles for loss, 16.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and fumbles. I'd say he's definitely got something to him.
Well, going through that list of the cap and the guarantee, there's 7 of these guys that are got the pretty solid guaranteed money. So that is one of those in there, and the one you were talking about. They got I think they got better odds of making the team, because I kind of see it hard where the Vikings give out that guaranteed money and then turn around and cut him,
Well,
I mean,
we've seen it in the past. And then the player doesn't.
Yeah, I think with like Spielman and back when Zimmer was around, they kind of had too much pride to do that type of thing where they'd cut them. But now with Kwesi and KOC in the lead here, I think they've actually taken more to the approach of like they don't care about how much money somebody's earning. The better player's going to play.
well, I agree with you. I'm just thinking, well, look at like Ed Ingram. They gave him 3 years, work it out. So I think these UDFAs that got this lots of money guaranteed, I think they're kind of expected to be nothing else on the practice squad, because see, on the practice squad, if another team claims that player, they have to pay the salary. My understanding is what I heard. Anyways, getting back to who I think is going to make it, I'm thinking the Minnesota Gopher quarterback, I think he's going to be replacing, what's his name?
Brett Ripon.
Yeah, I think he's going to be taking the number 3 spot.
I'd say it's about guaranteed money. That's probably that.
Well, here's another thing behind my thinking there, because the last year for the pro day, the Gopher Pro Day, wasn't he out there throwing passes to the receivers that are going into the draft? And then again, he, of course, was doing his pro days this year. And last year and this year, O'Connell was there watching him throwing balls and whatever. And way O'Connell talks about him, he's impressed with the kids. I think the guy kind of fits O'Connell's idea, what he wants for the quarterback, don't you think?
I think it's a little early. I think he's going to say nice things about all the players right now. But I think he's cheaper too than Brett Rippon. So that's a bonus too. And they already have their backup, so chances are, I mean, there's a high chance whoever it is going to be on the practice squad anyways.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes you don't want to cut them, but you're gonna have to if you want to, create the best roster.
Well, see, that's what happened the last time that Jaron Hall got cut. Vikings were hoping to sign him back on, but then that's when he went to, where did he go? Seattle or something like that?
I think it was Seattle, and he chose to go there.
Yeah.
He somehow had the opportunity to stay with the Vikings, but he chose to go to Seattle instead. So I think Logan Brown might have a good chance. Offensive lineman, and see a tackle.
Yeah,
I don't know.
13th ranked nationally last year for the fewest stats of all 24. I mean, it's the offensive lineman of the year 2024 also.
Yeah, so he's earned some accolades. So yeah, I think he's got a good chance as well.
So is he a tackle or a guard or both?
Right tackle.
Tackle.
And yeah, then they also had him for offensive line.
Yeah.
For Kansas, I think he started 11 out of 14 games. Had the fewest sacks allowed.
Yeah, he was tied for it.
It'd be good to see what he does. What was his salary?
Yeah, he's getting $234,000 also. Yeah, they like that $234,000, like I said. But I wonder if that's the guaranteed money. But all their salaries are $840,000 if they stick with the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not guaranteed though, obviously. Any other players on your list there?
What do you guys think of Oscar Champman?
Is he the punter?
It's from
Is he from Austin?
Yeah, he's coming from being
from Auburn.
Auburn. He had he won punts inside the 20-yard line, which is, we're usually a little bit further out. We've even had our fair share of missed ones, within that 20-yard range. The longest punt for him was 71. He had 240 punts for a total of 10,570 yards last year. But that's a lot of kicking experience, so he might come in handy.
What is his
Just
average?
depends how he can.
What is his average
43 and a half yards.
43 and a half?
43 and a half kick on the average.
I guess I don't know what's going on with Ryan Wright, right? That's his name, the puncher that we have now.
Sounds about right.
You know, his first year, he did pretty well, getting that distance or better. But I don't know, he's kind of gotten to the point where there's some sloppy punts,
Well, maybe this is a competition needs.
Well, that's what I think they're bringing this guy in is for the competition. But, sound like he's a good punter. He might have a chance to beat outright. No pun intended, beat outright.
Or did you intend it? Well, they usually do that with kickers. It's not, they, I guess sometimes will bring in the camp punter to, since they're not, so they don't have to kick all of camp, they split the duties, but that's also, yeah, a competition to see. Because, yeah, he was pretty good at, limiting touchbacks. And it just seems like in the last year and a half or 2 years, that's not his best suit.
Yep.
Well, I think that's one of the whole ideas. Either tell Mr. Wright, you better get your punt back on track or you're going to be replaced. So I don't know. The kid might have a chance to beat out Ryan Wright. I don't know. I guess, but too in the past, they had punters in there and whatever, and shoot, by training camp or second week of training camp or so forth, maybe third week, they cut the competition punter. So I don't know.
I think another one that's trying to make the team, or at least on the practice, is Joe Huber from Wisconsin. And he played both right and left tackle. Had 1 sack in 2 seasons. He walked on at the college year and earned his scholarship. So, but have at both him experience of both the left and the right tackle. Guard. Definitely should have a good chance of being somewhere. I think pretty good guarantee also.
At $200,000 it says here, and yeah, competition for what they, their current backups. I mean, it's a good thing too. If you're able to swing from guard and you have experience both guard and tackle, I think that's a positive. More flexibility, right? So
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean he played 12 games, 12 games for the right guard, and he played 13 games left guard. So that's pretty good. 50-50 there.
Especially with what we had issues with our replacing our guards and they go down. So reposition those guys doesn't always work out. He's experienced at both guard positions.
interior line, yeah.
So which one of these guys play guard? Or not guard, but center? I thought there was a guy
Other than Corral, he played both center and left guard.
I just thought we never got John's predictions for the record.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll have to maybe save that for another day.
You want to throw him in it? You got time? Certainly can.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yes,
We'll
at
wait and
this
see
point.
what. Yeah, I think we want to get that sooner than later. But you're probably able to copy ours.
Want me to go ahead and do them?
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to just wait till the end?
Yeah, I'll wait till the end. You can wait till the end. Either way.
I think we kind of talked as much as we can about the players, unless anybody has anyone else they want to talk about.
No, pretty much covered everybody we wanted to touch base on. Is there anyone you wanted to talk, Joe? I know we kind of went over
No.
a variety of players.
No, I think the guaranteed money was what was interesting to me, or interesting more. So, unless Dad there has anything else he wants to add.
No, like I said, the reason why I thought it would be something interesting was, what some of these guys got for guarantee compared to the other ones, Some of them didn't get any type of guarantee money, and hell, they didn't even get a bonus or sign-on bonus. Some of them.
Yeah,
Well,
you
even the two
paid
draft
some
picks didn't get guaranteed
players.
money.
Yeah.
So some of these guys got guaranteed money, and the last two draft picks didn't get guaranteed money.
Wow.
Treon, Ingram Dawkins, and Kobe King. Yeah, 0 guarantee. And they're earning the same amount of money. It's
Yeah.
salary.
Well, the base salary for are you talking about the drafted
Yeah,
late
Kobe
round?
King and Gavin Bartholomew were the last two guys drafted, and their base salary is $840,000. Although they did get $54,000 and $53,000 in signing bonus, but again, not guaranteed. Other than that signing bonus.
Yeah. Well, that sign-on bonus, they're paid that right away. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, like I said, and I even came across one that this Oscar Chapman sign-on bonus $833.
Maybe they're
It's
reimbursing
like,
him. Maybe he paid for his own flight or something.
it's hard telling. I don't know. Oh,
Misprint.
maybe that's what he needed for a down payment on a car. Who knows?
That covered his cleats. That's about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have anything more to add. I would just, I thought it was interesting. Something to throw out there, So,
Yeah. So with all that, all their salaries and the currently signed players, the Vikings still have $14,227,752 of salary cap space and 15,313 and 360 sound like Joe Biden here. He can't read numbers in dead cap space from players that aren't on the team anymore, but they're still paying part of their salaries. So they still have some room, which they could sign somebody else later in camp, or they might be done, and they might save it for next year because next year's gonna be harder on them because a lot of these salaries are gonna jump up.
yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we don't want to share this. But there are a few players that are still on their roster from previous undrafted signings. Eric Wilson, Ryan Wright, Ivan Pace Jr., Dwight McLaughlin, Taki Taki, Taimani. And they don't have CJ Ham on here, but he was one. Oh, no, he was a rookie tryout. Never mind. He wasn't even undrafted.
Isn't there, what's his name, that, I think he's a linebacker.
Yeah, Bo Richter. Got about him.
I thought there was another one. What was his name? I saw it here a little bit ago. Well, I guess I'll have to come across it some other time. Where did I see him now? Yeah, I thought he was a linebacker, that UDFA.
Ivan-
Maybe I'm wrong.
Was it Ivan Pace Jr.?
No, not him.
Not him.
There
Okay,
was
yeah.
another one.
Well, they just re-signed Eric Wilson, and he was one from 2017.
There was one that, or was he cut? But what was that one player that was injured beginning of training camp, and he was on injured reserve for wow. Well, he'll come back to me, maybe.
But no, they've had a pretty good history of having productive undrafted free agents. So we can see how the season plays out. But you have a list of some highlights.
Yeah, all the UDFAs that the Vikings always had pretty good luck with being notable. Start off on the list, the number one, and I guess a lot of it because he got the gold jacket. Johnny Randall, defensive tackle, Vikings from 1990 to 2000, 2001 neighborhood there. Now, unfortunately, there was a couple of them I didn't get the dates in. Gary Larson, he played way back in, I want to say the late 60s, 70s, early 70s in there. And of course, Chris Dolman, defensive tackle. I think he played with the Vikings. Heck, was right around the 90s, I think.
Yeah, it was early 90s, 92 for sure. I think he came on the team in 91, and it was kind of right when Studwell and who was that big defensive tackle from the late 80s, early 90s?
Okay, in fact, was he played from 77 to 1990. Studwell, linebacker, was a UDFA. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Then also, unfortunately, I don't have him, and I remember, but I think he played in the 70s, 80s there. Keith Millard, another defensive tackle.
That's who I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
thought
can remember his name.
I thought he was a late round draft pick. I didn't realize he was that. Then of course another one. Didn't he get the gold jacket? Mick Tingelock. He was a center for the Vikings.
Believe
From
so.
1963 through 1977, he played for the Vikings. But didn't he get the
Got me
gold?
beat there. I have no idea.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
no,
way before your time, Tom.
No, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you're learning us something, Dan.
A great
What year
tight
did he
end
go
in
in?
my mind was Steve George, 1982 through 1994. Scott Studwell, Chuck Foreman, running back. He was another great player. 73 to 79, he played for the Vikings. I'll tell you what, this one I vaguely remember, but he wasn't sticking out that much, but he was a good player. Wally Ellenberg, linebacker, 68 to 79. Ed Sherrockman, something like that. Cornerback.
He's a real person.
Yeah. Cornerback from 62 to 72. Doug Sutherland, defensive tackle, 71 to 81. Dean Washington, receiver. He had speed. 57 to 72. Dave Osborne, safety, 65 to 75. Bobby Bryant, cornerback, 67 to 1980. I think he's went into the Ring of Honor. Joey Browner, safety, 1983 to 1991. Fred Cox, kicker now, mind you. He was good. 63 to 77. And of course, the famous defensive end, member of the Purple People Eater, Carl Eller, 64 to 78. That's my list I got. Then, of course, a couple more like that made the team. Well, Adam Thielen, Marcus Sherrill. Who else?
The list I looked at has Chris Cluey. I wouldn't put him as one of the top undrafted free agents. Robert Griffith from the late or mid 90s to the thousands. Safety.
Yeah.
Not sure, number 24. Not sure if he rings a bell, anyone.
Mm-hmm. All right. I remember him. Yeah.
And those are the really only two more kind of modern ones that kind of pop off. You already talked about John Randall. I didn't know that Studwell and all those guys from the Bud Grant's team were undrafted free agents.
Yeah. I was surprised. I thought some of those were like, well, back then they had, what was it, 17 rounds, 12 rounds, or
Yeah,
something
17
like
and then trimmed it to 12, then 11, and then I think to 7. Yeah, so to not be signed when you had 17 rounds and still make a difference for the team, that shows something. But again, scouting wasn't very good back then either. So
right.
No.
Oh, another free agent was Anthony Harris, safety.
was he?
He was, playing there with Harrison Smith. He was playing so well, he got a big contract and signed elsewhere.
And never heard from him since. Was it with the
Yeah.
Saints, I think he signed with?
I don't know. I can't remember. I thought it was like Washington or something like that when he left the Vikings. I don't remember right off the bat, but yeah.
Washington always picks up a lot of Vikings players.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I think that's a good undrafted free agent talk there. I think we got a few minutes. We can have John go through his schedule if that works for everyone else.
So for the home games, I have Chicago. We'll win that one. I think they're a little new yet with their new coach. But I go out on the Lions. I think we're going to win at home this year, just based upon I've got their new leaders coming in, and you don't know if they're going to call the plays be the same. We did it last year. I'm going to go with the Packers at home. We'll win. First loss, I'm going to say, is the Eagles. They seem to be our nemesis since 2017. We got a lot at the Commanders. I have a win on that one. I know Daniels is going to be their quarterback. We'll see. Ravens with Lamar. I have that one as a loss. He's a sneaky little. Sometimes he can get through pretty good. Depends on how our defense does this year. Bengals with Burrow. I'm going to go ahead and say we'll win that one home. The Falcons, I'm going to say a win with Penn in the quarterback. And if it's going to be Cousins, we know if anything happens at this point still. And away games, Steelers, we'll be playing over. Right now they have Howard, but it possibly could be Aaron Rodgers. He's getting a little old. I think our guys could chase him down pretty good now. With the Browns in London, it's a win on that one. Bears, as I said, even at their place, I think we're still going to win. I think they're still going to be trying to get everything organized. Lions at home, I think we lose that one. Just got the home field advantage for them on that one. Packers, we can do it again this year at their home. The Cowboys with old Zach, we can still beat them. The Giants with their kind of still going quarterback things here. I think we get a win against them. The Seahawks, I know they've been kind of our nemesis when we go on the road, but we did win it last year. I think we're going to do it again this year. And with the Chargers, I know Herbert's, but I'm still going to give ourselves a win in that. I don't know how that compares. You guys, I didn't yet. So
Yeah, I think Dano, did you keep track or did when you both keep track? I know I didn't keep track like we talked about.
Yeah,
I passed-
no. Yeah,
No.
Dad picked 13-4. You picked 13-4. I picked 14-3. And I think that's what John just picked, 14-3.
There we
So-
go.
Gee, Tom, look like we're not as confident as Joe and John.
Well, some of them are toss-ups, but I mean, you just gotta. At this point, right? I think as we get closer to the season, we'll have a better. And I kind of talked about it last time, or last episode, is that we'll know more about the team as we get closer to the season. So I think we'll have to, right before the season starts, have another crack at it to see if we change our mind or not.
Yeah.
and I have
Especially after.
O'Connell with the double digit. I keep it in the double digit still for the
I think I saw something today where the Bleacher Report, which is kind of what I use to kind of, it's an app on my phone that I use to look at the Twins and stuff and the Timberwolves, but they picked the Vikings to finish last in the division and only get 8 wins this year.
Yeah.
And I guess we use it to the advantage, or KOC does. I mean, he likes to be the underdog.
Well, that compares to what I said at the get-go. Came out that Vikings are 8.5,
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you,
So-
when's the last time you ever heard any of them say that the Vikings are going to win more games than what they have, or, win more games, in the double digits? When's the last time you heard announcers or anybody, any place is saying it?
That's the thing is like, I think they always place the Vikings at 500, where it comes out 500, or maybe a snitch over 500.
Yeah, usually in the single digits.
Yeah. Well, look at last year, they had the Vikings at 6.5 because we're having Sam Darnold as a quarterback. Look at what happened. And so I don't know. They think with McCarthy, the Vikings will be lucky if they win 8.5 games. Well, come on. Don't they know that the Vikings have the quarterback whisper?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that Sam Darnold had some experience prior to, last year. And the rookie, or no, not rookie, second year now, he doesn't have that. Doesn't have that past experience to pull from. So that's the only thing I can think of what they're looking at. But again, Kevin Collins shown that he can get something out of any quarterback that plays in the system.
Yeah. Well, they put the Vikings 2 points ahead than what they did last year. Like I said, last year was 6.5. This year it's 8.5. At least they're giving the Vikings a little bit of credit, But you would
I'm pretty
think
sure
they put them up there with the Lions, at least, close in the same category bracket, I don't.
But in that last
Don't.
episode too, we talked about the couple of ones that, some power rankings have them in the top 10. Or Bucky Brooks has them in the top 10 from NFL Network. So there are a couple, but again, it's few and far between.
Yeah. Well, what always got me, even during the season, the Vikings could be on a 5-win streak and they rank the teams, and how come the Vikings are always down towards the bottom when, that's what gets me, say, okay, Kansas City or the Ravens or even the Eagles or whatever, they might be 3-2 or 2-3 or whatever, but yet they got the teams ranked. When they do their weekly ranks, they still have them teams above the Vikings. Remember last year I brought that up to you, John, about, how come they ranked the Vikings in this? So, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was a team they just beat the weekend before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the Rodney Dangerfield of the NFL. Don't get no respect.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's okay. Let them keep going. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Well, should we pull the plug?
But just
Yeah, I
as
think we
well,
pretty much.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We hope you all have a good evening.
again, everyone out there, if you watch this, please hit the like, dislike, and or the subscribe button. And please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Anybody out there that interested to be a guest on our show, shoot an email to at
SkolChatWithSkoda@gmail.com. It'll be in the description.
all right. Well, thank you, everyone. Hope you all take care. And if all goes well and God's willing, see you next week.